Hello, KW fans. What we're working on today is this Holcomb power plant scene, and I've been working on ground cover, and specifically I've been working on adding dirt around the perimeter of the main line here, where I'm eventually going to add, I think, a gravel road, like an access road along the tracks. But first I'm starting with a layer of dirt, and you can see the detail, the texture here. And what this is grout, sanded grout, I think, very lightly sanded. It might be polymerized, I'm not sure. We're going to take a look at the bag here real quick and find out for sure. All right, here's the bag. I think I got it at Lowe's. I'm not 100% sure. And this is the color here, if we can see that. Sandstorm. That's the color that I'm using right now. Let's see what we can see here. I guess it doesn't really say exactly what it is unless it's covered by this tape. No, that's just a different language. Anyway, got a much bigger bag than I needed, but this is the smallest that they had. I have since found other products at other stores that I've used elsewhere, but this is the one that I like best for what I'm using it for. Let's get back up there and take a look. So what you can see here are different stages of completion. This area here is done and dried. The particles that you see are the result of pulling tape, where I've gone over the top of the tape a little bit. So I'm going to come back and vacuum those up to some degree. I might come back and actually glue that down because I do like the added detail and texture for that. And this is dirt. Eventually, like I said, it's going to be covered with some gravel on this side and probably some weeds. When I do this on the other side, it's going to be completely covered in grass with maybe some rock outcrops. So this is just a basic cover to get rid of the ridges, I guess, from the sheetrock mud, which that covered plaster cloth. So we're kind of working up our layers here, and this is what it will look like underneath. Now this first example had a lot of air bubbles in it. You can see all the little holes. I'm not worried about that. It's like, again, this is going to be covered with another material. But then here you see, this one I did about an hour ago, so it's considerably darker. When you mix it up, it turns several shades darker, but when it dries, it ends up like this. So I'm going to show you my process of how I do this. I learned this from others on other channels. Might have put a twist on it of my own design, but basically what I'm using is, I've got a container here of that, now I can't think of the word, grout. Got a container of the grout, a little quarter cup container, teaspoon here. I've got these little condiment cups that I like to use for mixing different things, and I've been doing these at fairly small amounts because it does take a little bit of time to work it, and I don't want it to start drying and in a way that I don't want. So I've been happy doing these smaller amounts. I might move to a bigger amount later, but this has been working so far. I've got my trusty clay tool here that I use for just about everything related to scenery. I just have a little cup of water here with the pipette for adding water to this mixture. And then finally I have a spray bottle here with just regular water. So first of all, what I'm going to do here is, you can see where I've got some track taped, and then the top of the fascia taped so we don't make a mess on our nice looking fascia. So I'm going to go ahead and tape another section here real quick and then get back with you. All right, I've got another section taped, and basically what I'm trying to do is I'm taping the very top of the fascia, but leaving the gap between the track and the fascia to hopefully fill in with this dirt material and help to hide that unfinished, unpainted fascia there. I could have gone back and painted it, but I knew I was going to be coming back and adding this. And you can see over here where it's already done, how the dirt kind of just goes right up to the edge, which is exactly like I wanted. For the track, as you can imagine, tape doesn't stick very well to ballast, so you can see there's a gap there. That's okay, because if the dirt ends up overlapping a little bit, I can always go back and either trim it down a little bit or just add a little bit more ballast. So I'm not too worried about that. But what I am interested in is having the dirt cover all this loose ballast that's just kind of spread out on both sides, so it just kind of blends in. And for the area that you can see I've got done, it does do that fairly well, to where it just looks like it kind of just blends right in. So that's what I'm going for. Okay, we're going to see if I can show you how I mix this up without hopefully making a huge mess. Okay, I'm not doing this because I know a ton about how to do such things. This is just something I've kind of experimented with, and it's worked so far, so I'm just going to keep doing it. So what I'm doing is I'm adding just kind of a layer of water in my little cup here to start with. And then we'll add some grout. I think I filled the cup about halfway with grout because I'll add more water later. I don't want to add so much that I can't mix it. More water out of the way. So hoping you can see there. It does take probably 5 minutes to stir this up properly. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video until I get it to the finished state so you can see what it looks like. All right, I've got it just about done, and see if I can show you here. It's kind of the consistency of a Frosty, a Wendy's Frosty. And for you folks that have never been to a Wendy's from another country, it's basically like a shake, except maybe a little bit thicker. Hard to say if there's really any difference, but I'm sure many more people know what pancakes are, so we're basically going for a pancake batter type of consistency. Just really trying to get all the grit out that I can, or any lumps. It's not super important because of a step that I'll show you here in a little bit, but now that I've got it to where I like it, I'm going to go ahead and spread it out as best I can on my work surface. See if I can show it a bit better to you here. All right, so I'm basically just going to try to distribute this as best as possible. I'm sure at some point you're thinking this just looks like an almighty mess and why would I bother doing this, but I swear I can make it look like the other places. But I am glad I do small amounts because I think this could easily get out of control. I'm not sure how fast this dries, but I think it's fairly fast, so I don't want to mess around too much. And then since I just use these cheap things, I just pitch those in the trash. All right, so now I'm going to spread this out as best as I can. And the method that I'm really looking for is just spreading frosting on a cake. I'll go ahead and get it right up against the tape so it kind of mingles with the ballast. I think I might have spread this too thin, but we'll see. It didn't have to be perfect, again, because of the final step that I'll show you here in just a second. I'm just trying to do the best I can with this tool, and then whatever I can't do, I'll finish with the next step. Now, one thing I am noticing right off this section versus the other sections I've done is there's quite a bit more of the fascia sticking up. So I'm probably not going to be able to get this covered properly with this first layer, and I may not even worry about it. So I'm just going to kind of spread this out as best as possible. I just want to at least wipe out all of the plywood look to it. Yeah, I definitely spread this a little bit too thin in terms of where I kind of dropped all my drops. So I'm going to pause recording just so you don't have to watch me just continue to do this. And then when I get it done, I'll resume. So hang in there. All right, that's about as evenly spread as I can get it with my tool. So what we're going to do is take our water bottle and thin it out, which will wipe out all of the ridges. Plus it helps to fill in some of the voids that I couldn't quite get done with the tool. Now you can see the water's all running down. That's because we're on the top of my helix and it's all going downhill.
I'm basically just hitting it with enough water to wipe out the ridges. There's a little bit of ridge, that's fine. This is supposed to be just dirt and ground, and I think we've got it. There. So that's what it looks like, all soaking wet. Now I will probably put a paper towel down here to make sure it doesn't just run forever, but I think it starts to dry too quick before it gets too far. So the paper towel is really just kind of a, makes me feel better kind of a thing. So anyway, once that dries, or once it starts to dry, it'll look like this section here, which is darker. And then once it fully dries, it'll look like these sections here. So it's kind of an amazing color change, but it does turn out to be the color of dirt that I want. So I guess that's about it. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. If you want more specific product information, just let me know in the comments and I'll see if I can't figure that out. I guess that's about it for now. Thanks for watching and have a good day.